ladies. How are you
Hi.
guys?
Hi.
Thank you for being on Her Opinion. Hope you're ready to be on the hot seat.
Yes,
we are.
Okay, we really don't
happening.
don't get down like that, but maybe we should. I think that would be interesting. So I have today some ladies that are also my friends. I like to call you my friends. So starting with to my right, Allie. This is Allie. Leto. Okay. And Allie, you are a content creator.
Yes.
And you go by Life of Allie, right?
Correct,
They
yeah.
can find you as Life of Allie. Allie, I just want to say thank you for being on the show. I'm glad you said yes, because some people are too shy to be on here.
Thank you so much for having
So
me.
tell them nothing to worry about, right? Okay, and moving on, Marie, you have been on here already before, right?
Yeah,
So
thanks for having
you're
me back.
not new to this. And Marie Elgamal, yes, with Pop Studios
Perfect.
PR.
Yeah.
She is the PR girl. If you need PR, reach out to her. And I'm going to get this wrong, but I'm going to try to do it because when you tell me, I forget right away, even though I've known her already too long now to say that. But Karen Deamat.
Yes, you got it right.
Yes. And Karen, we've worked together with her company, and you are social behavior.
Correct.
So you do the social media strategy management, right? For restaurants, businesses, anything, or am I?
I think franchises would be our niche. And
Okay.
then influencer partnerships, of course.
Okay, perfect. So we're going to get into it, and we are going to talk about social media. What's the hype? Is it worth it? How, what's the ins and outs of it? And I think one of the questions that a lot of people might have is maybe how to get into it, how to work with it, and what you can do as a content creator or a business owner or somebody like PR or social media management. So Allie, tell me, is it worth it for what you do?
I think it is.
Okay.
I definitely think it is. But it all depends on what you are aspiring to do, especially if you're a small business owner. I think you need to have some sort of presence online. If you're going into the digital creating space, it's a great place to be because you're going to be working with brands and experiencing fun stuff and being able to promote different, businesses in the area. It's just a great spot to be if you have that creative juice in you. Yeah.
Exactly. And then Karen, what do you think?
Yeah, I think it's a must. I don't think it's like, is it worth the hype? I think it's a must. I think if you don't exist on social media, you basically don't exist in real life. But the levels and the thresholds and the intensity that you put into it as a business, that all just varies based on your outcome. What's your end game and how do you want to convert from social media? Because it can also just be a vanity point. It can be a portfolio. It can just serve a multitude of purposes, but it really is all about what the business wants to get out of it.
Right. And then, how do you feel about that, Marie?
Yeah, I mean, I completely agree with both of y'all. And from the business standpoint and on the PR side of things, when you're as a brand or as an influencer, when you're looking to work with other companies or other businesses and just your consumer base as well, the first thing that they're going to do is go to your social media page and see what you're all about, get a feel for you, what you're doing in the community, and what kind of a brand you position yourself as to see if it's a good match.
Right. And I think I'd say that I say this over and over again, that as a brand, you're the face of a business, right? It doesn't matter what you do, if you're a content creator or you're a business owner in a restaurant and accounting, whatever it is. If I'm going to go look for somebody on social media and I see that regular photo of just that business and you do accounting or you're an attorney, whatever it is, I don't know who you are behind all of that, and when I see the face of that person talking, are they relatable, do I feel comfortable enough to put whatever it is I'm looking for in their hands, then I'm like, I'm gonna go to this person. I'm gonna go, oh, and look, she's in Houston, and I think that's the new age of the, dare I say, the yellow pages, because you would be like, okay, maybe this one's gonna work. It's the closest to my house.
Yeah.
And I think you could also do a comparable to that. Like, it is also a vanity, for businesses. Like, having a social media manager is a vanity. It's something that you've reached a level of success in your business. Now you need someone to manage it, or maybe you're just coming out of the gates and you need someone to manage your social media because you want to have that vanity point. But the right way to do it is, like you said, to really tell a story and make sure that throughout a series of posts or in every post, you're getting that message across where people can feel relatable to you or some type of connection, you know?
Right. Building that authenticity, that transparency, and you build that trust with your audience as well.
Yeah, I totally agree with that. I think that that's just kind of like now where we're at. And even like you said, vanity, but at the same time, it's time. The time, like if you don't, I mean, if you have those funds, it's the best thing you can do is put it towards social media management, because me coming into what I'm doing right now with this, the time that I'm putting into running my social media, editing, setting up all these things.
It's
Look,
laborious.
I need that time to live.
Yes.
You know, I can't have this extra time going towards another, business, another thing. It's definitely gives you back some of that time that you would be giving away. And so most definitely. But moving on, I think another thing is for businesses and as a content creator, money. Do you feel like it's worth it in this industry that you're in with the money that you make? Do you make money? Do you, like, let's just say if I wanted to become a content creator tomorrow, would you suggest, yes, it's worth it, or maybe not?
I think for someone who wants to go into the influencer space, they really have to evaluate a few things. And one is like their current financial situation and where they're at. Because I don't think you can go into the space and think you're going to make all kinds of money right away. That's just not how it happens. It doesn't happen in any industry that way. So you really have to put in the time, the effort. You have to invest in the things, like invest in your website, invest in a photographer, invest in your equipment. So there is that layer of financial responsibility on your end if you're going to go into this industry. But again, the more you work, the more you produce, the better you get, and the more brands are going to want to work with you. And eventually that's going to lead to some pretty outstanding, campaign deals and opportunities for you as a creator.
Because you can get there, obviously.
Right.
And like I said, I've worked with you, Marie, and I've worked with you, Karen, for social media, some restaurants and stuff. And I think one of the things is, yes, you can get there. You can get to a point where you charge, but in the beginning, it's like any business. You got to put money into it. You got to build it. Exactly. And get the respect out there to be taken seriously.
Right.
And so with that, on another point of social media, like you guys do, you're the back end of the businesses, and you're running those pages and the social media and trying to get those businesses out there. What about on that end? How do you feel like why or how the businesses get the money, make the money from what you guys do?
Well, let me just touch on my experience personally working directly one-on-one with influencers. The industry as a whole has evolved. I met Ali 10 years ago when we were first starting out, and maybe you were in the game already, but I think you've had like a 10-year run and experience of cultivating relationships, planting seeds, building your business, as have I. But we get some new kids on the block that are 30 days into their blogging journey, and all of a sudden they're asking $500 per post. And so it is, simply put, it is a business. And the way that you grow a business is that you elevate your relationships, build a rapport. And so on the business front, I've gotten into some of our client pages and seen the way that the influencers respond to them prior to us taking over. And it's harsh. And so our clients are like, do they work? They're mean, or this or that. And so they're kind of put off by their experience working with an influencer. But that's also why agencies like us exist. We're like the mediator, I think a brand going directly to an influencer, especially someone that's 30 days in, 6 months in, and they're saying, hey, we'd love to work with you. And the influencer responds back with, okay, $500 a post, please.
Yeah.
I'll charge you to repost my story.
Yeah.
$250, sell me right now. It's like, whoa, hold on. And so clients are definitely put off by that.
Yeah.
There's definitely that layer of unprofessionalism I
yeah.
see
Yeah.
a lot. And I think too, I always say there's a lot of young creators in the space. And I think they never had like corporate experience. They don't know what that's kind of like. So
And you can see it.
and you can see it.
You
So
can see it when they try to pitch themselves to these businesses, and then you go, as a manager for the for the business or for the influencers that you're putting into your clients' places. It's very obvious.
Yeah.
And puts a bad taste in the client's mouth if it's going directly to that page. We don't manage, we do like very light social media management for some of our clients, but for the most part it's PR, but we'll see them forward the messages to us and it's, you know, this one liner, and then like you said, they're asking for a fee, but the influencers also have to be able to show some analytics and show, you know, some results of the work that you've been able to do with other clients, so that I can help my client understand why this is a smart investment for them.
Right.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then back to what we were saying on the business side, looking to invest to get that management and then contact with, use you guys because you filtered through, sorry, not me spitting on my own shit, but you filtered through the influencers for them because like you said, that's not okay when you have different levels of people and their professionalism talking to the owners or the management company, whoever, people.
Yeah.
So how do you feel like you're able to prove to them, I guess, so they understand that they still need it. They still need the social media. They still need the influencers. They still need the content creators to push the brand, the business to make money, right?
Yeah.
Because you're bringing the advertisement out there for them.
Yeah.
Well, the way that I put it to them is it's a necessary evil. So we're going to have to play the game whether you like it or not. But we do have a choice of who we play the game with. And I think that that alleviates some of the stress that they have kind of going into influencer partnerships. I still see influencers that have been in the game for 10 years that, you know, set proper appointments and communicate, correspond via email and just have professional diligence. And that is such a pleasure because even though the rate might be a little bit higher, I know that I'm going to get a professional outcome. You know, they're going to show up on time. They're going to be respectful. They're not going to feel entitled. And so it's going to be a win-win for both of us. And what we like to do is just cultivate, like, not necessarily one-off partnerships, but cultivate relationships that can just continue to bear fruit so that we can work together again in 3 months. You should never approach it like a one and done deal. So you close yourself off when you say, this is my rate, this is what I'm working with. It's all or nothing right now, and I need to move fast. What? Hold on.
Right.
So just having a professional tenacity to it.
Exactly. I do agree with that. And then one of the things I wanted to touch base on was, where do you guys see social media, let's say in the next 3 to 5 years? Do you think you would see something different, like out of nowhere, or do you feel like it's going to get stronger with content creators and this whole, I mean, I know where my answer will be on that, but I'd like to know what other people think about that.
I don't think digital's going anywhere anytime soon, so I think that there's definitely going to be all this digital awareness, whether it's to brands. It may look a little different than what it is now, but I don't think it's going anywhere anytime soon. It's here to stay.
Okay.
I think that, you know, social media has been through a renaissance. When I started my company 10 years ago, people said, no business is going to pay you to manage their social media. And now, you know, we're totally on the other side of that, where demand is driving up our price in our industry because there is such a demand. However, the industry as a whole, I do think that the landscape will continue to evolve. And I think that in situations like the ones that we're facing today, where TikTok, you know, is facing a ban and there's a decline in users, it just leaves room wide open for a newcomer to come in. You know, 4 years ago, when we saw the pandemic happen, and TikTok just kind of swiftly moved in, and it just overtook the space. You know, so now there's been some stuff done internally within Congress and within the powers that be to kind of move TikTok out of the way. But, you know, I do see that there's room and there's going to continue to be an evolution. And I do see that creators themselves are investing more into their talent and they're becoming more experts in their transitions, effects, AI. I just love it. I love when they're like, this is my industry and I'm running with it.
And learning what you can do better, right?
No, I don't think it's going anywhere either. It's going to continue to evolve. Like she said, the influencers are becoming more, you know, fine-tuned and polished with the way that they're producing their content, the tools that they're using to do so, learning about all the different, you know, apps and AI, you know, tools to make their content stand out more. And so that's really where I see it shifting into, is more influencers that are putting out that content, they're niching in, you know,
I will tell you what I'm learning now, and like you said, I'm always learning. I'm always got my head in there, like, okay,
Yes.
what's next? And AI is really gonna hit and come. I don't know how quick it's gonna come, but it's already obviously out there. And what a lot of what I'm seeing right now, what I'm learning is the AI generated videos and advertisement, which where that comes in is because when you see a space that has blown up so much that you don't have control over it anymore, obviously because they're always controlling the analytics, the algorithm, all these things that one day we think we've got it and the next day we don't, then they throw in, right, another freaking who knows what can of worms of this. And what I'm seeing is, like we just talked about, content creators and what they're charging and all that situation. So if you have AI and now you can create the image of somebody or something, because now we'll be selling ourselves to be an AI, image. You don't have to pay. You don't have to pay for that. You don't have to pay the content creator. You don't have to pay the actor, the model, like you see what we see going on in Hollywood, a lot of that stuff. Now, social media will still be there for sure, but how we go about what our videos will look like and things like that, I think it always kind of falls into the route of what is going to be cheaper on the business sometimes, what the content creator is going to have to jump into to figure out how am I going to keep making money and make this work. And so with stuff like that, I do think we're going to see a shift in that area.
Yeah. I think even with AI though, there's a lot of advantage to using it, and there's a lot of really great tools that can help you make your time more efficient, your content more polished. But it's also important to maintain some of that human aspect,
For sure.
because there are you can see through it sometimes, and so you want your audience ultimately to trust what you're putting out there. And so if they feel like it's all robot generated, then they're not going to know what to believe,
Right.
What's real and what's not real.
I have literally banned my team from using certain words on captions. Like, you cannot use this word because it's a dead giveaway that I know you use ChatGPT to get that caption done.
Yeah, you have to switch out some of that stuff
It's
so it doesn't.
momentous.
Location. No, stop.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, I think we're gonna have to like every other time that's gone through something, we have to integrate and we have to figure
Pivot.
out how, pivot. But we also have to put ourselves in there and figure out how can I use it and still be in it. You know what I mean? Because for me, I feel like if I'm gonna be an AI face and sell myself to be this, whatever, but how do I still show that it's still me, guys, right? Because people still want to see the organicness of who you are. And go ahead.
Well, but even an AI, I know we're totally getting off
the
track, but even an AI can have a persona.
Yeah.
And
That's
a lot
crazy.
of people are, creating these AI personalities, and they're
I've seen
becoming influencers. And so it takes that human face out of it, but people also become engaged because now they're following, an AI personality the same way they follow dog pages on social media. It's not a human, it's a dog. I mean,
Exactly.
I'm managing my dog's social media, but she gets messages like, "Red, I love you," and I'm like, wow.
I'll trust those dog pages before I trust
But
the AI.
it's what's entertaining, right? Because I didn't follow, but I saw it come up on my page. But I had to take a second and look because I realized that this whole girl's page is AI generated, and I couldn't tell until I found out. And then I was looking, I'm like, oh, okay, now I can see it. It's too perfect, it was too perfect. But I mean, they're already out there. Listen, if it's making money, I'm going to figure out how to do it. And I'm just going to run that whole page and I don't have to do anything. But we'll see, right? As it comes, we'll see and we'll move into it and do what we got to do. But it's interesting. I mean, not all of it's great, that's for sure. But you're absolutely right. I do think that I do want to see somebody, if I'm going to a restaurant and it's not all digital, I would like to see, some of these videos look great, but I would like to see, oh, look, that pasta looks great, and they're the videos actually showing them eating it. This was just last week, and stuff like that. I do like to still see that stuff. I do like to go into people's stories and when I have time and hear them just say, last week I did this, or hey guys, if you're trying this product, I didn't have a good review on that, and being honest. I think honesty is always the best thing. But guys, if you have anything you want to throw out there about social media that people can learn from today, what would you have to say?
Well, I want to ask you something,
Mhm.
if I may, on this honesty topic. Like,
Okay.
you're like, I want to review, I want to see the pasta, I want you to sell me on this dish, right? We've become so robotic in the sense,
Right.
like, you open the door, you swing the door wide open, and then you go
Yes.
into the restaurant, and you get the piano of the
Yes.
restaurant,
Yeah, it's all
and
the
then you
same
sit down,
kind of
and it's
template.
like, and then you put the name of the restaurant and the address, and then what you're trying to sell people on, but
And
it's like,
everything's always amazing.
yes, but where's the face? Like,
Yeah.
what are you telling me? Like, are you going to tell me that you used to hate Brussels sprouts, but now you're eating this pasta with Brussels
Right.
sprouts, and now you like Brussels? Like, I need to be sold
You need more
beyond
organicness,
just
yeah.
the whole thing, shebang. But how do you feel about people leaving an honest review,
I think it should be. I think we need more
but
of that.
if they were invited by an agency and their meal was comped, and then they go and post and they're like, I'm gonna tell y'all something. All right, I had a bad experience. They didn't greet me. They this, they that.
There's a right and wrong way to do things like that. And so I'll tell you what I do. And there's times that I will just say no because I know I don't like this
Yes.
restaurant. I don't
Yes.
care how much you're going to pay me. It's just not for me, and I'm not going to lie.
Yeah.
I feel very uncomfortable when I do have to, kind of bend the truth on some of the things.
Yes.
And yes, it happens because you might be getting paid. And
Yes.
this, not everybody wants to burn a business because maybe I don't like something and maybe somebody else does.
Yeah.
But I will say that there's a way to do it politely and in your, especially maybe not in the video, but when you're putting down what you're saying about descriptive about this restaurant, I think I would sometimes be like, this wasn't for me, but it might be for somebody else.
Right.
Or, say it to where you're not, like this weekend when I was at that bazaar, it was hot as like I was like so uncomfortable. The food was amazing. The drinks were pouring,
amazing.
but I was hot as hell. And
Yeah.
I put it there that like you guys should probably put that bazaar
Outdoor
2 hours
event,
later,
yeah.
when it starts the evening, or put it in April, because let's be honest, sales would be better, know, and I think the people that are watching my video would like to know, because if I tell them that it's worth this $150, $200 ticket, and then they show up and
It's
they
a
were like,
reflection on you
it is,
and,
and
what kind of trust they can put in you and
exactly,
the work that you're putting
and I
out.
think, or if you're speaking on the video, because that's the newest thing, and I think that does well. Just put a little honesty behind it.
Yeah.
Not everything is, oh my God, the spaghetti was so delicious, guys.
It's life changing.
Yeah, like the best restaurant in Houston. Okay, well, you know what? But
And I want to share too that I recently took a poll on my Instagram stories. I still need to share the results, but I was trying to talk to the people outside of the space that I am very immersed in, of the creative realm and working with influencers and marketing and PR, and saying, okay, all you other people, are you seeing the content that influencers are putting out? And if so, is it influencing you? And I got an interesting mix of responses.
Yeah.
A lot of people they think it's fake.
A lot of people don't trust
They
anymore.
think it's very curated
Yeah.
content. And so I love influencers. I like Allie's one of my favorite to work with. She's always very authentic.
Yeah.
Professional,
Not me.
she has the integrity where if, maybe she knows that she's not going to like a certain place or experience, then she'll,
Decline.
kindly decline
Yeah.
on it,
Yeah.
right? Not everything's for everybody.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
But man, I lost my train of thought again.
But you said you took a poll.
Oh
and
yeah,
you-
so
you
I
asked
took
people.
I took the poll, but yes, again, so I encourage, was what I was going to say. I encourage my influencer friends to be authentic, but to also kind of niche in and set yourself apart in the way that you're producing your content, because like you said, it's the same. It's the open the door. It's the same kind of like template that you see put out there in the same lingo, and it just becomes repetitive.
Oh my God, I had something that I wanted to share on that topic, and I also have become kind of numb to the curated content, because if I see that an influencer is 20 influencers are going to the same restaurant, I'm like, okay, well, that was clearly orchestrated, right?
I'm like, oh,
Like,
they just did a campaign.
And all the videos come in. All the videos, they
Yeah.
come in right back to back.
Right, and so we really started to kind of niche into the immediate community. Like, I don't want the biggest Houston bloggers to be talking about a restaurant in Pasadena. I want people that live in Pasadena,
That's the bread and butter for that
exactly,
business.
like honing really into that community. But one of the things I wanted to talk about was when we make our content, should we be like, and this is me as a creator, not as a business owner, okay? should we be telling people the kind of venue or vibe to expect? Because I see a lot of influencers, like even me.
It drives me crazy.
I go to a restaurant that I know it could be like everyone is 60 plus in there, you know?
Yeah.
It's where all the oldies go,
Yeah.
but I happen to love it. And if I post about it, and now all my friends are like, is it a cool spot? You know, do they have bottles? And I'm like, I should have put like, this is for the grown folk. This is
Yeah.
for old people like
Yeah,
me.
I think you
grown
should.
and
to
sexy,
me.
and
Yeah.
yet grown and sexy. Grown
Yeah.
and you know, like
Yeah.
keep it definitely, or be like, this is not, you know, just like you said. How do you describe it? What are those descriptive words
Yeah.
you throw in?
Because they're all going to this place. I'm like, I know that's in the heart of Richmond, and they do hookah, and it's very urban. But here we go. We've got the executive,
Not everybody.
admin
Yeah.
page that's like, oh, I work a day job, and I'm just like a cocktail drinker. But I'm gonna sell you on this urban place, and I feel like we need to just do a little bit of a better job at telling people what that niche is, because if I post about a place like that or a nightclub and my clients, 60-year-old wife is like, maybe I should go there for
Well,
my birthday. I'm like, no.
You know what happens with that. So what happens is that person that's following you is not going to follow you anymore, or they're not going to pay. They're not going to trust you on your post.
Yes.
And that's how I kind of feel with me. Like,
Yes.
I of course support and follow all these other content creators, but there's stuff I don't like that they post,
Yeah.
and I don't support it.
Yeah.
So I try not to do it on my page. And like I
Right.
said, if it's a place like, I know Houston, I know the areas,
Yes.
I know what I'm gonna get, and when
Yes.
certain people are posting it, that's just not my
Right.
vibe.
Right.
I'm not
Well,
gonna go
and,
there.
and they go to these places and they have you have this whole picture, this whole environment, right? But they show you this much of it.
The table.
Exactly.
And they show
The
you the
table.
most beautiful part of it, and you're like,
Exactly.
"Wow, I'm drawn in. I want to go
Yeah.
try it." And then you get there, and you're like,
Yes.
"No."
You got catfish.
Yes. Not just by who you want to date, but who you want, where you want to eat.
Catfish.
Yeah, I think for me, with my personal business, I try to focus, because I've been in situations like that, right? I go into a place and I'm like, oh man, this is not for my demographic. So I try to focus on the things that I did enjoy on my visit, and then I do put in some sort of description in my caption, like, this is for the grown and sexy,
Yes.
just so that they know if you're 18 or 21, 25, you might not like this, but you don't want to say that. So there's a lot of things that I do that I'm just, in a sense, it is sort of curated, but it's also protecting a small business.
Yeah.
Like, who am I to go out and start blasting someone saying the service sucked, the food was terrible? Like, I'm not doing that. That's just not who I am as a person.
Yeah.
So
And I think as influencers that go out and have all these different types of experiences, when you do have a negative experience, share it with the
host,
agency,
yeah,
or
right.
whoever
Them first,
hosted you,
or the
send
client.
them an email, make a phone call.
Maybe it was a bad day.
Maybe
Yeah.
they probably, yes, it could be a
Yeah.
bad day. They want to
Right.
know, they want that feedback.
Yeah.
And I think that also has to do with how long you've been in a business, or you've worked in a professional setting, to understand that you don't understand what you can do to a business just by going viral.
Right.
It's hard. And as a business owner, you don't know that unless you're on that side too.
Yeah.
Right.
Because you let them make it right,
Yeah. That's when I have to call Maureen. Like, damage control.
No, and I've
Damage control
and I've had
department.
situations with you. I've done an event and you asked for feedback, and I've given honest feedback to you.
Yeah.
Right, so that you're aware, and that kind of stuff. I think that's really important.
Yeah, it is, and I think that's also our responsibility, or those of us that work primarily PR, but we do a little bit of influencer stuff too. But it is making sure that we're asking for that, and we're doing our diligence as well for the client too.
And choosing our clients wisely too, just the same way that you guys choose your partners, your brand partners. You need to do your diligence. So us, when we work with a client, if one influencer has a problem, okay, we'll consider it a one-off. But if multiple influencers have issues, then we know, okay,
There's a common
the client
denominator.
is the issue, and so we have to address that.
For
you know?
sure.
But not every influencer is like that. Some influencers are like, oh, it comes my way,
Take
I'm
it.
gonna take it. Like
Right.
for me, there was a fast
take
food.
anything.
Yeah, they'll take anything. There's a fast food
Yes.
place. It's a big one.
Writing big checks.
And they came out and offered a big check, and I was like,
Yeah.
I can't, because I don't
Yeah.
need that.
Right.
I
Yeah.
don't need that. So
Yeah.
It depends on the influencer too, because some
Yeah.
influencers are like, they just take whatever they can
Right.
get, yeah.
Right.
Yeah, but that goes
Yeah.
back to finding your niche.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Right.
And they're gonna run hot for a while. I think they're gonna collect those checks. I think the influencer industry right now is it's it was peaking, dipped a little bit. Now it's peaking again.
Again,
It has its ebb and flows. But I think anyone that's in the business of doing it to like make money and collect a check, you might run hot for a while. But if you ultimately don't have a purpose that you're being called on for
Right.
your page or your blog, then it's not gonna be successful.
Yeah, it's like any
100%,
business, right?
yeah.
I think you're gonna learn that if you don't do your client well or whoever you're working with, they're not gonna call you back. And that's just
Yeah.
basically, and I think that's a great note to stop because, but I don't think we could do this over and over again
Yes.
because there's so much to talk about.
So
So
many
I would love
layers.
to have you ladies back.
Please.
And be on the show and dive in deeper,
Every
yeah.
Tuesday.
or maybe just talk about your personal lives.
Yeah.
Ooh.
Every Tuesday I'm here.
But thanks again for being on, Lady. I say,
Oh,
ladies, I
thank you.
appreciate you.
Thank you so much.